Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another scathing Akon review. I'm just kidding. But seriously, I always took pride in the fact that I'm the type of person that sees the good in things even when things aren't exactly going your way. If you're new here, I cover anime and gaming news. I also do reviews on both. Occasionally, I do videos such as this, where we're covering an anime convention. If any of that sounds remotely interesting to you, please consider subscribing. I don't want to waste any more of your time, so let's just jump right into Akon in 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am Ryofu, and you are watching The Gaming Harbinger. So if you've been watching the channel for a while now, you probably already know I've been attending Akon for 20 plus years. And also, Akon is the first convention I ever attended. Akon has become like this stagnant relationship that I can't get out of. It's like this relationship that I love her for the glory days, and I feel it that it's time to move on. We're just in different lanes. We think differently now, but I just keep going, well, you know, it might be different this year. It might be different from the last. The things that I didn't like before, maybe they're gonna fix them, who knows? And then they might fix two things, but then there's this whole other thing that was never a problem. Now it's a problem. Now I am self-aware to know that yes, these are first world problems. It's not a big deal. And then also some people will look at this and say, you know, you're spending all this money to go on vacation, to go to these different conventions. You should be having fun. Why are you not having fun? One thing, I guess, another thing you could say about my personality is I always make the best of things. So sometimes, you know, there'll be 4 or 5 things that I really enjoyed, but then there's these other things that I'm like, man, this is like a major L for me. But who knows, they'll fix this next year. Yeah, I know, it can, on the surface, it could sound ridiculous, but there's also the simple fact that going to these things costs a lot of money. That's also part of the reason throughout the 20 years that I've been going to conventions, everyone is always yes at the very beginning. They're yes, they're absolutely yes. They are on board like 6 months prior. But then when it comes time, they're like, oh yeah, I gotta figure in the food. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to pay a little for gas. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to help pay for the hotel. When they start adding these things in, they're like, oh, okay, well, I don't know, maybe next year. These things do add up, and it is expensive to go to a convention. So I think it's fair for people to have critiques and say, well, I need to justify to myself, is it actually worth it going to this thing? You guys have heard me talk about this stuff in other videos, so let's just jump right into Akon 2023. So once again, Akon decided to team up with the Westin Hotel, and this is in Irving, Texas. So last year I did say that the staff felt a little overwhelmed. This year I didn't feel that as much, and the customer service, I mean, it just seemed to be even better than last year. And I think this is one of those moments where, you know, sometimes you get what you pay for, right? So it's an expensive hotel. You are getting quality service. And of course, I could not wait to see that shower head again. It was calling me. I pretty much attended every ProZD panel that I could. ProZD is a voice actor that's been in games as well as anime, but he's also a YouTuber and has quite a following, I might add. He's mainly known for doing like these nerdy skits, but I guess you could say his true passion is talking about board games. I believe he had about 3 panels. I went to all 3 of them. The first one was about rating your waifus and husbandos. And this stuff had me rolling. Like, he was hilarious as always, doing his thing. I mean, just some people were throwing really wild stuff out there, and he was just like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with an 8 on that one. And I mean, some of them were crazy, and he just embraced the crazy. So it was just a really fun time. Another great panel with ProZD included voice director Joel McDonald, as well as Kieran Strange and Jeremy Lee. There was this moment in the panel where a fan asked Joel McDonald, how did he feel about people not caring for Borderlands 3 the same way they did about the first 2 entries. Which, I'll be honest with you guys, I thought this was a really foul question to ask. I mean, it's just snakish. But at the end of the day, you know, it comes with the territory, right? I mean, people are going to have opinions when you make your art and you put it out there for consumption. Everyone's going to have an opinion. That's the reality. Same thing with these videos. Someone's going to have an opinion on how you do things or what your opinion is. Well, all I have to say is that I feel like he was very professional and he answered the question extremely well. He was just like, hey, you know, you have to get to a certain place where you work on a project and there's going to be projects you're more passionate about than others. And he was like, the reality is that some of the ones that are like massive, they may not even be the ones that you were super excited about. And then there's going to be other ones where you're extremely passionate about it, but nobody watched or played your thing. And he's like, that's just the name of the game. And he even gave an example of one of his friends, like, I guess really tore up over this passion project of his just tanking, just flopping. And he was really bummed about it. And then he asked his friend, hey, did you get paid? And his friend's like, well, yeah, I got paid. I got paid. He's like, so do you feel like this like destroyed your career and you're not going to get any more projects? And he's like, no, I'll be fine. And then he was like, okay, well then guess what? It's going to be okay. And I mean, that's really, seriously, that's like a life lesson. Like a life lesson for everyone. Like some of us probably can't relate because we're not in the entertainment industry, so to speak, but I got what he was trying to say. I'm not sure if it resonated with everybody, but it definitely resonated with me. And I totally got what he was trying to convey to the audience. The commercial success of something he's worked on, sometimes that's irrelevant. Like that's really what I got out of what he was trying to convey, was that sometimes that's irrelevant. So my friend that came with me to A-Kon, he wanted to see Take One again. And due to like what I remember from last year, I was like, sure, I'll go with you to some of the shows. There were like 4 of them. I believe he went to all 4 and I went to 2 of them. And one of them had another improv group. It was kind of like a versus type thing. And that was absolutely hilarious, very entertaining. If any of you in the comment section know who that group is, please let me know, because their name escapes me. I actually tried to look for it. I could not find it anywhere. But if you know the name of that group, drop it down in the comments. I would appreciate that. So there was a point early Saturday morning where the entrance into the event center was bottlenecked. I have no idea why this happened, but it was ridiculous. And essentially what happened was LineCon. Attention everyone, the moment you've been waiting for, LineCon. Who doesn't want more of this? Just lines everywhere, just zigzagging all over the place. This is what I live for. What a great place to meet fellow anime fans, LineCon. Now I will add that this didn't last forever, but it still lasted long enough. And I believe this happened between like 9:30 and noon. So by noon, I believe this was fixed. But yeah, it was pretty rough waiting outside in the blazing heat. I went to this panel that explored really old shows that have been remade multiple times over. These 2 women really made a compelling panel. They really explored some of the history behind these TV series. It's really interesting when you realize there are some series that have been remade multiple times over. Some of these I was completely unaware of. They even discussed parts of these old shows that had some hidden racism in them. And I don't mean that in a hypersensitive kind of way. Some of these drawings were just downright bad. And yes, it's uncomfortable talking about these things. But the Japanese were merely imitating what they saw from American animation. Anyways, I just want to say kudos for them from not shying away from this topic. Okay, let's talk about that dealer's room. What was that? I just want to say, how is it smaller than last year? Because that year was smaller than the year before. Please, just make it make sense, okay? Make it make sense. Why is it smaller? The dealer's room was smaller this year than it was the year before, and then the year before that. I don't understand, but maybe there's a reason for this. So I have this very important question to ask you guys. How many Anyas do you really need at an anime convention, huh? All of them! So the concerts, this is probably my least favorite part to talk about, just my level of disappointment and everything. So first, let's start here for a minute, because I know some of this I own in the error that was made. So the first thing is, well, actually, I'm going to throw this in there as a double hitter. So there was no banquet, okay? There was no banquet, which extremely disappointed in that. And I believe their way of kind of like trying to handle that part of it was, let's offer, you know, this little tea party, let's have this maid cafe, let's have this little function or whatever where people have to dress up or whatever, like some kind of masquerade thing. They had like a bunch of those. And I guess somewhere in the midst of that was another ticket that you would have to buy to go to the concerts. Wow, what a concept. It's like it's never been done ever. So I was not anticipating any of that. And guess what? I show up to the concert and this guy, I mean, salute to him for having energy, more like Busta Rhymes energy, for being animated and showing hustle or whatever you want to call it. But you know, he's pretty much telling everyone like, whoa, you need to stop right there. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to have Otaku Beat tickets or whatever the hell they're called to get in here. And so I just saw person after person being turned down, and he's just make sure you have your tickets ready. And I was a little confused by that, as well as some of the other people. And guess what? I got some receipts too, showing that I wasn't the only one, but there were people commenting in Fanguru saying, I don't know what's going on. Why was I rejected? Why was I not allowed to go to this concert? Now, I understand what some of you might be thinking. You might be thinking of the type of convention it was, or excuse me, not convention, but the type of concert it was. You might be looking at me and like, bruh, you didn't miss anything. It wasn't for you. And here's the thing with that. Like, I really don't know since I wasn't in there. But I would like to make that decision for myself. And a lot of times, I will go to a concert and it's not for me. But the thing is that because that was part of my badge, it's like one of the perks, one of the many perks. But then if I have to pay extra and I'm not really sure it's for me, it's like, wow. And A-Kon in general is a little bit more expensive than some of the other cons that I go to. So then adding in another price and making me pay for more is just wild to me. It's insane. Another important thing I want to add is that the guy with the Busta Rhymes energy, he was saying that, whoa, we're at max capacity. Whoa. And then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, there's no effing way. There's no way. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I was at this place last year when they weren't charging extra, and we walked our happy little butts in there, and guess what? We still didn't hit max capacity, and it came along with your badge. So you're telling me people paid extra and they were at max capacity? Yeah, I really don't believe that. I don't doubt that for a second. The thing is, when this happened, I kind of felt like, dude, the past couple of years, like, I mean, especially amongst my friends, I have been handling A-Kon with kitty gloves, like with very slow and slight jabs. You know, I've tried not to be too critical on him because, you know, it's the one that got me into conventions. So I tried to go very easy on it. But like I said, for me personally, I'm at a tipping point. You know, it's time. Who would have known that Tony Stark's name was written in the Death Notebook? I didn't see that coming. So on a whim, I went to another VTuber panel. This was VTubers Can Get You Laid. By the way, I totally misunderstood this description. You already know, this is gonna be going downhill fast. By the way, this was an 18+ panel that included Eye Candy, Buff Pup, Rose Doodle, Shia Bun. In case you didn't know, my knowledge on VTubers is very limited, so I am not familiar with these four at all. However, your boy has been slowly learning and understanding the appeal of VTubers since last year's Anime Fest. My God, this panel was insane. So have you ever been in a situation where someone's trying to like catch you off balance, they're trying to crack jokes, and then the other person just like responds in very unconventional ways and they're throwing the other person off guard? So it's just a total reverse of what you were expecting in that situation. I mean, these people were trying to ask awkward and embarrassing questions, and they just totally, these VTubers, they just totally embraced it. They totally embraced it. Like, they try, you know, these people try to ask some sexual questions, you know, some awkward questions, and they just embraced it. Like, some of this I really cannot show on YouTube because of how off the rails this panel was.
Are you whispering to like mess with us? ASMR?
ASMR? Wait, I have ASMR too.
Are you kissing the mic right now?
Wait.
It was pretty outrageous. It was very entertaining. With all that being said, though, there were some people that did try to ask, like, hey, so there's this person I like, and what do you think I should do, blah, 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 blah. They gave them little scenarios, and they were genuinely asking for help. And I think that was the initial, like, idea behind the panel. But like I said, for the most part, it was just off the rails, and people were asking ridiculous questions, ridiculous scenarios. What would you do if blah, blah, X, Y, and Z happened? What would you do?
All right, so I have to lay out the scenario first. So say I have immaculate riz, and I'm in a situation where I'm with one dude and 3 girls.
Okay.
How is the best way to satisfy all 3?
Wait, 3 girls, 1 guy. So that's 2 guys, 3 girls.
Yeah. Oh, the other girl was like getting food. I forgot.
A lot of people are, what's the word, very cautious about meeting other people online. So what would you say for just, I guess, a normal person to, I wouldn't say normal. Yeah. I'd say somebody who's not a serial killer to meet other people.
Where they literally played Minecraft.
Yeah, I joined the Minecraft server, joined the TeamSpeak, and then I became friends with my husband, and now I'm married. Oops.
I met my boyfriend through GTA RP, like no joke. Sorry.
Yeah, so maybe you're already on
Just play some video games.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I did not make it to the game room this year. And it's just kind of one of those things that sometimes things just slip through the cracks when you're doing a bunch of things and trying to figure out what to do next. Please let me know down in the comments if you went to the gaming room, if you dug it, if it was cool, if there were any awesome tournaments. So in my case, you know, one of my, I guess you could say, one of my loves in gaming, DOA, was a no-show, which I'm not shocked by that because I did glance at some of the tournaments. And, you know, people are losing their mind to, you know, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. So Street Fighter was pretty much the main one I kept hearing people talk about. It was the main one I believe they were doing some kind of event for. And I mean, but really for me personally, I guess in terms of fighting games, it's Guilty Gear right now. You know, since I can't really, you know, no one's losing their mind, dead or alive. So, I mean, I guess you'd say it's Guilty Gear. And, I mean, I'm really looking forward to Grand Blue Fantasy this year. I'm really hyped for that. That looks beautiful. Like, I'm all in on that one. I am all in. Context is really important here. So the things that I wanted to do, I was able to do. And those things I enjoyed. So all the Pro ZD stuff I enjoyed. The Take One panels I enjoyed. You know, the other panels I've mentioned here, I enjoyed. Concerts have always been a big part of my A-Kon experience, and yeah, that sucks. Even if it wasn't for me, it sucks that I didn't even have a choice in the matter. And yeah, I know some people might look at that and say, hey, well, that's your fault. You should have paid attention or whatever. But like I said, I've been going for years. But anyways, I'm not even trying to argue that part, but that's just one part of it. The dealer's room just keeps getting smaller and smaller. And I mean, maybe that has nothing to do with A-Kon. Maybe it's the digital frontier, and it's not worth these dealers coming from across the country to haul all this stuff to A-Kon. And I mean, maybe that's what it is too, who knows? So when it comes to these banquets, the reason why I like them is that you're paying a lot of money, but you're also helping a good cause. And they kind of choose different causes over the years to support. They'd give you a shirt, maybe give you a mug or something like that. Then of course you get your meal, but then they would have guests, and it wouldn't be all the guests, but it would be a good portion of them would come to this as well. You could sit down, talk, and converse with them. And then after a while, you could move around and talk to other people that are there, sit at their table, get an autograph, whatever you want, get a picture. And it was just a really cool thing. I mean, there was one year I loved they had this rotating system where the guests would have to get up after, like, I don't remember, 15 minutes and sit at another table. I love that. I don't know if the guests like that, but as a fan, as a con goer, that was awesome because there were quite a few people that I met over the years. Some of these people have even passed away. And I mean, that's what makes it beautiful, that there's someone in particular, might make a video about this, so I won't say who it is, but someone that's passed away. I did not know who he was. And he was such a sweet, kind individual. And he didn't flex or anything. He was just like, nah, I'm just an animator. I'm nobody special. And I was just like, oh, okay. And then I looked at some of his work. Then it was like after I came back from A-Kon, I was like, are you kidding me? He made this? Damn, man. Damn. So for my final point, I just want to say this. I believe in the last, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years, I've just become really complacent with A-Kon. And now I'm kind of in a position where I'm making more money. So I'm able to go to more conventions. Or if I wanted to, I could go to maybe 2 really big ones and then I can go to anything else. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. That now I have more money, and now that I've gone to even more conventions, especially last year, now I can kind of see like, okay, A-Kon was the one where I spent the most money, but there were things that I wasn't happy with. Now, if I were to get the same things at A-Kon, but they cost like half as much, I probably wouldn't have as much stuff to complain about, because I'd be like, this felt fulfilling. Yeah, this was worth it. But it doesn't feel that way right now. And I'm not trying to like put a price tag on it, but if you've gone to enough of these things, you kind of understand where I'm coming from. A-Kon doesn't owe me anything. They have their priorities, and I mean, ultimately their priorities are not my priorities, and that's okay. And that doesn't mean like it's some kind of dramatic bye forever. I'll probably come back in a couple of years, maybe. Who knows? Who knows what'll really happen? Like, I've always wanted to go to a gaming convention. If you're wondering why I've never gone to one, it's really because most of them are far away. And also there were a few of them that happened around the same time that A-Kon was. So what would I do like a fool? I'd be like, well, you know, I'll just go to A-Kon. You know, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just go to A-Kon again. And you know, it is what it is. But I will say this too. Again, I'll reiterate the same thing I said with my last video on A-Kon, that just because I feel this way, if you had an awesome time at A-Kon, don't let that bother you. You know, don't let that bother you. I've been going to conventions for a long time, so I don't want to say my expectations are higher. They're not necessarily higher, but I have certain things I like just like anybody else. And if those things aren't met, then I'm going to, like any normal human being, I'm going to go somewhere where those things can be met. And I think that's the most important. That's like the takeaway from this video, I hope. In your life, shoot, let's just be honest. Let's be real. In your life, like if things aren't being met, you don't just have to stay stagnant in this thing and just, well, this is what it is and it's going to be this way forever. You know, no, just do what you can to try to fix it, get out of it. And especially, like I said, in this case, you know, I've spent my hard-earned money going to these things, going to all of these conventions. And if I'm at a point where one of them I feel like is under-delivering, just for me personally, not that it's under-delivering all around. I mean, look, I'm wearing the freaking A-Kon shirt, okay? So, you know, I got love. I still got love. But like I said, sorry, girl, it's time to go. And I'll just end the video on this one. Last year, I bumped into a friend, and it was his first time ever going to a convention. And then I bump into him this year, and he's with his family. And he's taking his daughter to a meetup. I thought that was like the most beautiful thing ever. I told him, I said, dude, you are one awesome dad. And just like that, the video's over. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Please let me know where you stand down in the comments. Let me know if you're like, oh, you're just being a crotchety man. And I mean, do fun stuff. You know, if you're not having fun, it's all on you. Well, you got a point. It is all on me. That's why it's changing. You know what I mean? That's why it's got to change. But no, really, it's time, and it's okay that it's time. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching till the very end, and I'll see you next time.